Good morning and welcome back to Kirkstone, and even more importantly, welcome back to the scintillating second episode of our mini history of collecting Echeverias here at Kirkstone Gardens. There are basically two parts to this. Today we will be looking at an absolutely cracking collection from Cactus Culture from my good friend Mario Schultz, who sent a parcel, and you will be able to see how the collection is developing at a rate of knots. So that's one of the major parts of today, and the other part of today's episode is a taxing look, perhaps for some of us, at the new emerging taxonomy in our second taxonomy and classification feature, and what is being considered, what is being looked at in terms of reorganizing the way we envision, the way we see, the way we conceptualize the genus Echeveria and how it relates to everything else. And if there's time, and only if you've been very, very good, there will be another feature as well, just to flesh out the offering, as we say. So that's it. Let's get absolutely on with it, and let's see exactly what Mario has sent. It all starts here. Bye for now. Bye. Good morning and welcome back to Kirkstone. I had another small delivery here, which I've just taken out of the in tray. So what do we have in the in tray today? Well, this is from Culture Plants, which is Mario, based in Germany. So I may have some faint recollection of what this actually is, and it might be pertinent and germane to our overall Crassulaceae, specializing at this stage with that North American Echeveria group rather than the South African axis, the Crassulas and Adramyscus. So this is hopefully something that will be very useful. Oh, what a nest we have! What a nest of bits and pieces. I don't know what you can see there. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 little packages from Mario. Now, how shall we do this? Well, we'll do it in the way that we normally do it. We'll start with the smallest. In fact, I shall spend a few seconds putting them in some semblance of ad hoc order, imposing a nascent structure on the proceedings. So these are all very small. So I'll start with one little tiny something or other. What could it be? And then I'll work on through them privately, so you don't have to endure the rigours of me. Well, I wasn't wrong. So as I unwrap the little package, a piece of paper has arrived which says quite clearly Echeveria Blue Elf, a famous Dick Wright hybrid. So I'm going to have to be very careful and put my Blue Elf piece of paper down there, and then open up this lovely little bijou offering from Mario Schultz, trading as Cactus Culture. And there we are, a lovely small specimen of Echeveria blue. I have here ready a whole swathe of small plant pots, just ready for these first small plants like this little blue elf which has arrived from Mario. And welcome back to our second taxonomy feature here on the Echeveria series. I think it's important to understand the relationship of Echeveria with its nearest and dearest, with its close relatives, some of which may surprise you, the way that the revisions are occurring and people are writing scientific level papers considering things that perhaps may never have been considered before, by looking at where everything fits in the macrocosm of the universe and of living things. And I'll fly through this. You understand, of course, that there are 5 kingdoms of living things. There are the animals, obviously. There are the fungi, the so-called third kingdom, fungi if you're watching in American. Then there are the bacteria and the related, and then there are those mysterious, ancient, minute life forms, the archaea. But I've missed one important one out. I've missed out, of course, the plantae, the plants, which is most pertinent and germane to today's discussion. So within the plants, what particularly concerns us is that order of plants called the angiosperms, the angiospermae, which contain the flowering plants as opposed to others which do not flower. And within the angiospermae there are a number of stratified layers moving down towards which historically we've always considered to be the genus, and I'll come back to why that idea is being challenged now very, very soon. So essentially we have the angiosperms, and underneath the angiosperms, as part of the angiosperm structure, we have the eudicots. And the eudicots are all of those flowering plants, every normal flowering plant you can think of, from a rose to a cauliflower, from a carrot to an echeveria. All of those plants which trace their way back to a common eudicot ancestor which gave birth in some primeval time to all of the normal flowering plants that we would appreciate, which does not include those which were descended from the magnolias, Magnoliales. So the Magnoliales are an ancient form which do not concern us today. So we're down to the eudicot level, and within the eudicot level we have the angiosperms. And the angiosperms, I've just said, are the normal flowering plants. And one of the families which constitute, and there are many, many families, one of the families which constitute the angiospermae for our immediate purposes are the Crassulaceae, which includes crassulas, sedums, echeverias, and all of those plants with which we are most interested as part of this series. So what says you? Well, bear with me. So at that angiosperm to Crassulaceae level, we have a number of groupings, subfamilies within the Crassulaceae. One of which is a massive focus for us, are those plants which are related to the Western Sempervivum. So the Sempervivoidea, and the Sempervivoidea includes within it the Echeveria group and the Sedum group and others. This overarching group is the Echeveria, is the Sempervivoidea. So within there we have Sempervivums, Ioniums, Dudleyas, Echeverias, Graptopedilum, Pachyphytum, etc, etc, etc. Okay? Oh, that's fine. Now, an important understanding for us at this point is traditionally we would have gone below that point within the family to the genus, so for example the genus Echeveria, and then from the genus level to the species level, and the species level would be Echeveria purpusorum. So there we've drilled down to the base layer. We've gone down to the atom. But then we discovered that atoms were made up of protons, electrons, neutrons, etc., etc. We also discovered that species, and I'm talking about Victorian level thinking here, species could be drilled down also to varieties, which are subspecies, I missed out, subspecies, then varieties, and then forma. What is now being understood is that a species is not a group of plants. A species is not a population. A species is simply one plant which is described as the type specimen of its type on that exact moment it was recorded. One plant. Because, and I alluded to this on the Gymnocalycium video before, you might have one plant on one mountain, another plant on another mountain, to all intents and purposes genetically identical. 99.999 recurring percent identical. But one plant has long spines, or to make it more relevant to the present series, longer leaves. Echeveria affinis has short-leaved forms, has long-leaved forms. So, do we have different varieties? Are they different subspecies? Are they different forma? We don't know. Because right now all that happens is that genetic identification holds sway. So in the old days we had the splitters, and the splitters were the people who would separate plants down to the most minute characteristic and give it a new name. And we had the lumpers, those who would ascribe a general characteristic to a population of plants and say, yeah, they're not all the same, but at the end of the day they're all the same species, but with natural variety between them, because the variation of species is a known factor. So they would tend to have broadish groupings, and they would tend to have very narrow, tightly defined groupings. Now what we do is we look at the DNA under the scanning electron microscope. So again, so what? Right, okay. So in the first video, a few people on social media messaged me and said, I thought this was supposed to be about Echeverias. The series is called Echeveria. Why are you talking about Graptopetalum, Pachyphytum, Sedum, intergeneric hybrids? Why? Isn't there enough to talk about with Echeverias? You've got your cultivars, you've got your species, you've got your hybrids, you've got your monstrous mutants. There's so much to fill the series about Echeverias without bringing Graptopetalum, Pachyphytum and all the rest of it into it. And there, my friends, is the nub. Because at the end of the day, that old understanding of that's the Graptopetalum genus, that's the Sedum genus, that's the Dudleya genus, that's the Echeveria genus, that's the Pachyphytum genus, is being thrown out. Because genetic studies are showing that, and I did hint at this in the first video, the genus Echeveria is polyphyletic, which means it cannot be traced back to one single ancestor. And I also said that there are probably about 4 or 5 genetic strains, in other words 4 or 5 in the past, common ancestors to these groupings, not only within Echeveria but across Echeveria to other sections. So let's throw out our understanding of genus for the time being. We can come back to it. What we're looking at now is a scientific novelty which has emerged over the last 25 years or so of the clade. And the clade, C-L-A-D-E, is a group of plants clearly seen to be related genetically. Whether or not that might at first appearance be obvious, or indeed sometimes not obvious at all. And again, I'll come to that very, very soon before I wind up. The latest research shows that the genus Echeveria and its closest relatives should be divided into 4 groups. So that overall, that overarching Echeveria concept is shattered. So we have group 1. And group 1 will form the focus of the next taxonomic review in the next video. Group 1 contains Pachyphytum, just Pachyphytum. Okay, so section 1 consists exclusively of species from the extant genus Pachyphytum. That's an easy one. Section 2 contains a whole range of series: the Chloranthi, the Ciliati, the Mucronati, the Nudi, the Racemosi, the Thyrsiflori, one member of the extant Pachyphytum genus, that's Pachyphytum cuicectinanum, and the entire genus Thompsonella. Section 4 contains the remainder of the Echeveria series, so the Gibiflori, the Setosi, all the rest of them, including the majority of the Urbinii who weren't included in section 2. And that includes the original Urbinia, the type species for Urbinia, which is the present Echeveria purpusorum, which is now identified as being geographically very distinct, away from the epicenter of the other Urbinii, and also genetically distinct as well. So Purpusorum and its closest relatives become subsumed into the new clade 4, or section 4 of the overarching superclade. Section 4 also includes Graptopetalum. So there we are. So the existing relationship between all of the Pachyphytum, Echeveria, Graptopetalum, Thompsonella and all the rest of them are now been put in a big bucket, stirred up and then taken out into 4 smaller buckets, those consisting of the groups I've already described. After that research, it was decided that Pachyphytum, although having such close genetic affinities to Echeveria, with which it interbreeds so easily, and also with Graptopetalum, should be retained as a separate genus. However, Graptopetalum, which is also regarded as being a separate genus, is still subsumed into section 4. All this on the basis that the genetic identity of Echeveria and its close relatives, because I'm not separating them, I'm keeping them in that big bucket for now. Echeveria and its close relatives are not only not monophyletic, they're not even polyphyletic, they are paraphyletic. Echeveria has genetic strands reaching into its close relatives like an octopus with its fingers, its feet, into a whole different range of genotypical pies. So that's it basically. That's the current thinking on Echeveria, Graptopetalum, Thompsonella, Pachyphytum and all of the rest of those related. 4 distinct subsections, and all of the existing Echeveria and Pachyphytums and Graptopetalums and the rest will fit into one of those 4. But those 4 will not be the same as the existing groups we know, apart from Pachyphytum. And Pachyphytum is where we head next when we look at the next taxonomic revision, update and review on video 3. I hope that wasn't heavy. It wasn't supposed to be heavy, but it is incredibly interesting when an existing structure is challenged and something which has been accepted for so many years is shaken about and then bits teased out of it and put back together in a different way. I think so. I hope you do too. And I'll see you on the next video. Thanks very, very much for watching. Bye for now. And there we are. So we're adding continuously to this little collection of Echeverias and relatives, and the odd interloper like this Haworthia groenwaldi. But basically Echeverias, Pachyphytum, Dudleya and hybrids between them, Pachyveria, Pachysedum, Sediveria, I'm sure I've missed one out. but these are the ones that we're concentrating on here. So this is the delivery from Mario Schultz, trading as Cactus Culture on eBay. This was the Echeverria Hybrid Red Edge, all potted up nicely. Then there was that Graptopetalum cultivar Ameliiflorum, nice fat leaves on that Graptopetalum there. And then there was another Graptoveria hybrid here. This is Bashful. You can see it's blushing nicely there. Graptoveria Bashful. And then there was the Painted Frills, the crenulate or semi-crenulate, and also a Sediveria here, which is a cultivar called Blue Elf. And then a well-known and very choice species discovered by Alfred Lau. This is Echeverria Lowii or Lowie. And then we had the Echeverria Black Sirius. Okay, and here we are, the morning after, just having a quick look over our little Echeverria collection, which is gathering pace and building up rather nicely. So we have those new deliveries from our good friend Mario Schultz, trading as Cactus Culture on eBay UK. And we've also, as I accelerate through the ranks, we have also got a collection of labels. So as always, it's the same system. I've got the name of the plant, and then on the back of the plant I've got Cactus Culture, eBay UK, January 2020. So when it comes to updating the spreadsheet, and more importantly finding things on the spreadsheet, I should be able to find them either by date, by the name, by the genus name Echeverria, or collection number. So we've got here Graptoveria Amathorum. So the first one goes in there. Graptopetalum Amathorum, label and plant. Okay, the next one is Echeverria Agavoides Black Sirius, and Black Sirius, it says there on the label, is that plant. So the label goes in there, and that's another one updated. Label, plant, and check. The next one is Echeverria Cuspidata, and that's Echeverria Cuspidata. Check. Label, plant. And then after that we have the hybrid Sediveria Blue Elf, and Blue Elf is this bluish looking plant here, and there's the check, Blue Elf on the paper label from Mario, and there's Sediveria Blue Elf label and indeed plant. It's going to be a really nice plant, that one, when it expands a tiny bit. Then we had that super choice species Echeverria, which has got that incredible bright blue farinaceous covering. So that's Echeverria Lowii. So there we are, Echeverria Lowii, label, plant, and check. And not many left now. We've got Echeverria Painted Frills. Painted Frills. A multicoloured, almost variegated, you say, green fading into red. And there's the label. Insert the label, and that's Echeverria Painted Frills labelled. Look at the plant. Check one last time. Okay, Graptoveria Bashful. Okay, so that's Graptoveria Bashful in there. Label's not straight, I don't know why it's different doing it with my right hand than my left hand, but with my right hand it works. There's a Graptoveria Bashful, and there indeed is a Bashful, and there's one left, and that's this one here. That's Echeveria Red Edge. Red Edge, and there is indeed a lovely little Red Edge Echeveria. So that is the collection. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 from Mario. So that's Echeveria cuspidata, Echeveria agavoides, Echeveria lowii, Sedaveria, hybrid between a sedum and Echeveria blue elf. And then there's that painted frills, semi-crenulate Echeveria hybrid. Or cultivar would probably be a more appropriate name. And then there's Bashful, nice. I love to see these nicely close-leaved, tight-leaved taxons. Graptoveria Bashful, and then there's Graptoveria amathorum. So 2 Graptoverias there. You can see the much thicker leaves, if I show in cross section there, which obviously are coming from the Graptopetalum side of the hybridization. And then Echeveria Red Edge. Great plants from Mario Schultz, trading as Cactus Culture on eBay UK, and probably eBay worldwide, to be honest, but obviously I buy them from eBay UK. And a last lingering glance over some of the more interesting plants in the growing Echeveria and Relatives collection here at Kirkstone. A very nice little Setosa minor there, unusual Dudleya, bright white Dudleya, Echeveria lutea, and there's that red trump, that new hybrid that came from Bogglewood and Stones, and a few starting to throw up some flowers. As Ramillet is throwing up some flowers there, and this much bigger Agavoides that came a while back is featured on an earlier video. This large Agavoides is showing up a pinkish flowerscape right now coming up. Okay, so there we are, Echeverias and their relatives, growing collection, and there'll be some more very soon. Check back whenever you can. There's always more to see. Bye for now. Bye.
Chiquillas viudas casadas, toditas esperan.